Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started.
All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome to Freedom Friday here on the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and honey, we made it to Friday. But this isn't just a Friday. This is the Friday where we talk about the ultimate freedom. The liberation that comes when you stop performing who you think you should be and start living as who you truly are. But this week's journey, it's been a great one, hasn't it? I mean, we talked about honoring our body's wisdom, even when systems try to silence us. And we've learned from Laura about trusting our inner voice. And we explored with Dr. Will that it means to embrace our bodies and understand our self-worth. And yesterday we talked about becoming students of our own body's wisdom. But today I want to talk about the freedom that awaits on the other side of all of that work. The freedom to live authentically, to make choices from love instead of fear, and to be unapologetically yourself in a world that's constantly trying to change you. But first, before we get into this topic, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, here on this Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more. We're bridging the gap between them all, and we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to xnyomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you.
All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back. If you can hear my voice, it's a little draining right now. I've been having a really harsh cough for the past few weeks. Really hard cough for the past few weeks. And so know that I'm listening to my body. I just wanted to make sure that I came in and did my work here. So here we go. Let's just go ahead, because I can keep talking, all day. But I really need to, at least have a little part of this Freedom Friday out here for you all. And then I am going back to bed and I'm going to rest my voice. As I know that I'm doing a little bit too much. I hear my body as of yesterday. My body said it's time to rest and sit down. It's truly time to rest and sit down. And so let's do this. Let's ground ourselves. Let's find a nice little comfortable space, all right? Now, I want us all to take a deep breath in. And then I want you to let go. I want you to let out with a sound. And that sound will be, Take a deep breath in again through your nose. Hold for a moment. Now release. I want you to imagine yourself completely free. Free from the need to prove yourself. free from the weight of others' expectations, free from the mask that you've worn to be accepted. Now see yourself walking through life with complete authenticity, speaking your truth, honoring your needs, and making choices that align with your soul. Now, in these next few breaths, I want you to breathe in liberation and breathe out limitation. Now, this next breath, I want you to breathe in authenticity and breathe out performance. In this next breath in, I want you to breathe in power and breathe out fear. I want you to feel this freedom in your body, in your posture, in your breath, in the way that takes up space in the world. Now, I want you to say with me, I am free to be myself. I am free to choose my path. I am free to live my truth. You'll take one more deep breath in of freedom. And when you are ready, open your eyes and step into your liberation. All right, my beautiful people, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, it's something we do every day, Monday through Friday. Again, just to help ground us before we get into the topic at hand. But you know what, my beautiful people, I've been just thinking a lot this week about the performance we put on every day. And I'm talking about the kind of performance that lights up a stage. That's not what I'm talking about. Or create arts. I'm talking about the exhausting performance of trying to be who we think others want us to be. You know, for 21, 22 years, I performed the role of a woman with perfect breasts. I performed confidence that I didn't always feel. I performed sexuality that sometimes felt disconnected from my authentic self. I performed success in industries that profited from my willingness to be something other than my natural self. And y'all, don't get me wrong. There were parts of that performance that served me, that taught me, that helped me to build the platform that I have today. But there came a point where that performance became a prison, where maintaining that image became more important than honoring my truth. You see, that migraine on Monday that forced me to be still, that forced me to watch that documentary about the truth behind breast implants. That was my body saying, enough with the performance. It's time for the real show. So let's get real about the mask that we wear. Because freedom starts with recognizing what we're trying to free ourselves from. There's the people pleaser mask. You know, that's the one that says yes when we mean no, that bends over backwards to make everyone else comfortable while we're dying inside. Then there's another mask. There's that perfect woman mask. You know, the one that says that we have to look a certain way, act a certain way, be a certain size to be worthy of love and respect, speak a certain way. You know, I remember having that mask on. And then there's that strong woman mask. You know, that one that says we can't show vulnerability. We can't ask for help. We can't admit when we're struggling. And then there's that successful woman mask. The one that says our worth is tied to our achievements or our incomes or our ability to do it all. I've worn all of these masks, my beautiful people. I've worn them so long that sometimes I forgot who I was underneath them. But here's what I've learned. Masks are very, very heavy. They're exhausting. And they're completely unnecessary when you know your own worth. But then there's come a cost of the performance, right? You see, performance culture, it tells us that we have to be everything to everyone. And that we have to look perfect, feel perfect, have perfect lives. But what's the cost of all of this performance? Physical cost. Our body paid the price. Stress, inflammation, illness. These are often our body ways of saying this isn't sustainable. And I'm just going to be very honest. I believe right now this is what my body is going through. In my mind, I had a plan to record, have a complete series for July, knowing that I'm preparing my body, my mind, my spirit for next month, Explant Journey. I thought I did enough. I thought I cut back on my interviews. Was just saying I was just going to interview here and interview for some things in, August and September so I can be ahead of the game. But what I forgot through all of that is that the interchange of energy, the interchangeable energy that I am receiving from these amazing, amazing people that I am speaking to, that I'm talking to. And I'm going to have to sit and learn to rest. So I'm going to say this now, and this is what my heart is telling me, that this is probably the last Freedom Friday episode for this month until I return in October. I made the conscious decision in prayer and meditation at my altar there will be only limited episodes the rest of July, August and September. So you will get episodes every week, but it will not be every day, just until I return back from my surgery in August. Because even though I said I put my mask down, I took it off my face, but I was still holding it in my hand. And as long as I have that mask in my hand, I cannot be my authentic self. So now let's talk about the emotional cost. We lose touch with our authentic feelings. We become so focused on managing others' perceptions of us that we don't even know how we really feel about things. And then the spiritual cost. We disconnect from our inner wisdom or our intuition or our soul's calling, and we become strangers to ourselves. And then the last one is the relational cost. When we're performing, we're not truly connecting. Others are relating to our mask and not our authentic selves. And we wonder why we feel so lonely when we're even in a crowded room. That's something that I learned in these past few years, specifically when doing this podcast here at the Season of Self-Love. It's because I have been probably the most authentic of myself that I've been, is sharing my journey, sharing my transformation, sharing the wisdom that I've learned through my life. But also what I've learned is that there have been people around me that look at that as a weakness, and my vulnerability for them is a weakness to them for me. And when I say this, when I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's what this is. That's what God's showing me. That's what God is showing me. And I could say this. I was sitting at my altar today, and I know I'm kind of going off, but I want you to know the importance of when you take that mask off and when you are really being in your authentic self. Truly, those that are most closest to you do not want you to be in your authentic self. And why? Because not only do you see them through their mask, but it forces them to be in a place of uncomfortability. So it makes you to where they have to really look at themselves when they're not ready. I've learned that in the past few months, especially now. And I guess it was like there's a realization that comes when doing your work. And I think I said this before early on with this podcast, is that you will lose people from around you. They will move from you. Some will move in peace and some won't want to move. But this is where you realize that those people are no longer aligned with you, no matter how long you've been friends, no matter if you're blood relatives. And it's so unfortunate that that happens. But when we talk about growing beyond the seasons, or being in that work in that season, and you actually grow beyond it and you still stuck there, this brings on the stress in your body. This brings you out of who you are, your growth and your authenticity. So again, when I shared on Tuesday that this was more than just an explant, an implant removal, this is truly looking at everything as a whole and knowing that where I am going after this month is a place that a lot of people are not going to be able to go with me. But then that's, for me, that's a freedom for me. And like I said before, I apologize because it got a little off of what I was talking about, but then again, it didn't. Because that's where you come to where it's like the turning point. That's when, that's when I really said stop performing. As I said, I had that mask in my hand. It wasn't on my face anymore, but I still was carrying it around in my hand, I guess for convenience. So whatever I needed, I put it back on. But now that I'm taking off, probably one of the most important parts of my mask, my costume, my implants. My implants has been my costume that I couldn't take off. But also when I understood that every day I was choosing to carry foreign objects in my body to maintain an image that was never really me, that was a part of my turning point. As I'm walking with the mask in my hand, not on my face, but still wearing a costume. But let's even go a little further, because it wasn't just about the implants. It was about all the ways that I was performing instead of being. All the times I said what I thought people wanted to hear instead of what I really believed. All the times that I made myself smaller to make others comfortable. All the times I chose approval over authenticity. That turning point came when I sat at my altar and asked myself, who am I when no one is watching? Who am I when no one is watching? Who am I when I'm not trying to be anything for anyone else? Who am I in my most natural state? And I know I told myself this, is that, oh, well, you showed yourself in your natural locks. People really never seen your natural hair. Oh, you're not wearing makeup, so you're good. So you're all natural, Oh, people seeing you without your contacts, People seeing you with your robe on and you're looking like you just, so you're showing your authentic self. But it's more than just that. It's so much more than just that. But when I sat at the altar and I asked myself all of those questions, I heard a voice of a woman who's been waiting patiently for permission to be herself. So let's talk about what authentic freedom looks like. Real freedom isn't about doing whatever you want without consequences. Real freedom is about making choices from your authentic self rather than from fear, rather than from obligation or the need for approval. Authentic freedom looks like speaking your truth even when your voice shakes, setting boundaries that honor your well-being, making decisions based on your values and not others' expectations, embracing your natural body instead of trying to conform to external standards, following your intuition even when it doesn't make logical sense, choosing relationships that see you and celebrate your authentic self and not who they have seen you as, this celebrity or this semi-celebrity or this porn star, but someone that authentically see you underneath all of that and celebrate you. Freedom looks like pursuing work that aligns with your purpose. It looks like saying no without guilt and yes without resentment. It looks like taking up space unapologetically. And it looks like celebrating your unique gifts instead of trying to be like everyone else. Trust me when I'm speaking today, I am not being hard on myself. Not at all. And it might not even sound it in my voice, but I am in celebration of myself right now. But I just want you all to listen to what I've been going through the past few weeks and just preparing myself for this transformation and understanding, Nyomi, if you really want to be as free as you say you want to be, if you want to continue to be talking to your season of self-lovers out there and show them your authentic self, then you need to be real and honest and tell them, y'all know what, I've been carrying around my mask. I had it on my face, but I still had it in my hands for convenience to have it there. Because I knew I still was wearing my costume. But I know what I said about, the people around you when you become authentic and they don't want to see that. But then also there's a good side of that, because authenticity can be very contagious. When you give yourself permission to be real, you give others permission to be real too. When I started sharing my struggles on this podcast, my anxiety, my health issues, my journey away from performing, the response was overwhelming, especially from the ladies and the men. Let me not forget about my beautiful men out there, but from the women, especially this past month. And remember, I shared with you all that my prayer for years was, how can I be of service to women too? Because honestly, majority of my career, unbeknownst to me, I have been of service to men. But how can I be in service to women that can help them, to inspire them, to encourage them, And that's what the message that I got a few weeks ago, when again, my body was my teacher and my body set me down. But the messages that I get from the women are reaching out saying, thank you for being honest about the hard stuff. And your vulnerability give me permission to be vulnerable too. One of my beautiful guests that you guys will be able to hear later this month, we had a nice hour talk before our interview. We came back the next day, did the interview. Then we had another hour to 2 talk afterwards. And now she's moving forward and creating herself a podcast and a vlog series and all of that. She said, thank you. I didn't even know who you were. She said, but thank you for putting fire in me. Thank you for reigniting that fire that was there before, and I thought it was gone. This is a beautiful 60-plus-year-old woman. I think she like 62, 63. Beautiful woman. And she said, I still have time to be an advocate. I still have time to serve others in my way, in my voice. And I said, yes, you do. I said, yes, you do. And so even though I've been carrying around my mask and I still had on my costume, I was still able to reach those that wanted to see their authentic selves. And it has given them the courage to do so. And that's what that ripple effect of authenticity is. It gives you the freedom to create spaces for other freedom. And there was another amazing young lady that I had on here not too long ago. And she has an organization, a strength stronger than strength. And I know I'm saying it wrong. Like I said, I got brain fog right now. But she had lupus. She has lupus. And before she used to put, makeup on to cover up the scars from, some of the outbreaks from, her lupus. But now she's on camera without it. Now she speaks every day to her audience just with it. And I think that speaks so many values of just showing who your real authentic self is. But this is my thing. It's so unfortunate that we are bashed. People that want to be their authentic self with no makeup or whatever it is with your being is that it has to be ridiculed. I remember looking on her page and just seeing, some mean things on there. And I said, this world really needs to be healed. This world really needs to be healed. Because this is what we should want. We should want people being authentic. We should not want that fake love. I know that's not what I want in my life. I know that's not what I have in my life. So now I celebrate this today. I celebrate the choices that I'm not going to be every day for the next few months. Today will be our last Freedom Friday until I come back in October. So you will get the Mindset Mondays this month. You will get the Wisdom Wednesdays this month. But that's it. Then next month, in August, there will be a Wisdom Wednesday shows. And in September will be the same. And then once my body is healed, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, then I will be back in October in my fullness at 100 and maybe 150. but that is when I will be back. So I just want to leave some practical tips for you all to freedom. Again, this will be our last week of Freedom Friday until October. So how do we move from performance to authenticity? And how do we step into the freedom to be ourselves? Here are some practical stuff. One is the mask inventory. I want you to take an honest look at the masks that you wear. When do you put them on? And what are you trying to achieve? What would happen if you took them off? I want you to write it all down. You can't free yourself for what you don't acknowledge. And then the next one too, the values of clarification. Get clear on your core values, not what you think your values should be, but what actually matters to you. When you know your values, decision becomes easier. You can ask, does this choice align with my values, or am I making it for someone else's approval? And if we want to go back to when we first started, about choosing what are our nine top values of who we are. And number 3 is the truth practice. Start telling smaller truths as practices for bigger ones. So instead of saying, I'm fine when you're not, try, I'm having a hard day. And instead of agreeing with when you disagree, try, I see it differently. So you build your truth-telling muscles. 4, the boundary boot camp. Practice setting boundaries in low-stakes situations. So say no to things that you don't want to do. Ask for what you need. Communicate your limits clearly and kindly. And boundaries aren't walls. They're gates that let in what serves you and keep out what doesn't. The authenticity audit. Regularly check in with yourself. Am I being authentic right now? Am I making this choice from love or fear? Am I honoring my truth, or am I performing for approval? The goal isn't perfection, but it's awareness. And I'm going to tell you this. As I was sitting here doing this episode right here, right now, that is when I made the decision that this will be the last Freedom Friday until I return. Because not only did I feel my body, not only did I hear my body and see my body, but that is when I was really realizing, like, you really walking around with that mask. You really out here performing. Because you know right now, your body, you tired. You need to be resting up for this surgery. Yesterday, I went to the doctor. Just one moment. I went to the doctor, and I got all the pre-op tests, the EKG, the X-ray, the blood, all of those things. And I remember sitting there, and they was taking my my blood pressure. Now, let me share with you, for the past year, 2 years that I've been going back and forth to the doctor about my migraines, about my, my pains and stuff like that. My blood pressure has been very high, to where they actually diagnosed me as being hypertension, borderline high blood pressure. And they wanted to give me some medicine, and I said, no, I'm going to do the herbal way. But I haven't been taking any herbs, as I shared yesterday, because I'm preparing my body for this surgery. And on the to-do and not to-do list, it is advised to you not to take certain herbs, not to take, certain medications and stuff like that. And so I want to go in to wean my body off of these things so I can have the best success in my surgery, but knowing that those herbs helped me to be able to function daily. So I'm pushing my body more to the limit, and I don't have the things. I don't have the things that will help me to push forward. And so when I'm sitting here talking about this being authentic, I had a okay, today will be your last day of Freedom Friday, because you literally pulled yourself out of bed and you hear your voice. I sound like a female version of Barry White. But then I also remember that my goal isn't perfection. It's awareness, and I'm very aware of who I am. And I've been so far, I've worked so far, I did so much work to go backwards. And I'm going to share another thing with you. Yesterday, before my doctor's appointment, I did pre-recording with Dr. Will. And throughout that whole time, I was going through these coughing spells. And you all will hear it in the very last episode. For Mindset Monday. And we had to pause. And I remember, and I want to give this to my still friend, Dr. Will. He said, so you just gonna stop listening to your body? We just talked about that. And I couldn't do nothing but just look like, wow, he is so true. We just talked about this. I talk about this all the time. Like, you didn't get enough. We'll just, and we cut that short. We cut that last episode short. And he said, I know you good, my still friend. He said, I know you good. He said, but I want you to really look at, I want you to take care of your body. I want to take care of you. I know you out there want to take care of everybody else, but I want you to remember what you say and what your teachings are. And my still friend, what he did was he put that mirror right in front of my face. And so I had to look at it. That was that check for me. And I thank him for him. Actually, I think after I get off of here, I'm going to text him and say thank you for that. Yeah. And then we just talked about the support system shift. I just talked to one amazing person, Dr. Will. Surround yourself with people who love your authentic self, not for your performance. These are the people who celebrate your growth, who aren't threatened by your changes, who encourage you to be real even when it's messy. So, Dr. Will, thank you. My husband, thank you. My mother made me some great tea yesterday. And if anybody is new here listening, my mother has dementia. But she saw her baby down even after I came back from doctor. And she said, what you need? And it took her a minute to get everything down there. I told her my husband was right next to her and he was trying to help, and she would not let him help. All I kept saying was text, like, she won't let me help. I said, you have to let her do it. And when she brought it up to me, y'all, I felt nothing but love in that cup of tea as she cut the ginger. I can feel it, y'all. The lemon, it was so potent with my mother's love in there. Man. So when you say about that support system shift, that's what that is. That's what that is. All right, my beautiful people, I'm going to cut this short. But as always, this month we were doing a closing meditation. All right? So what I want you all to do right now is to close your eyes and get into a nice, comfortable position. All right? Now I want you to take a deep breath in. And I want you to feel yourself in this moment exactly as you are. Now imagine shedding every mask, every performance, every way that you try to be someone other than yourself. See them falling away like old clothes that no longer fit. Feel the lightness, the relief, the spaciousness of being completely yourself. This is your natural state. This is who you were before the world told you who to be. Now see yourself moving through life from this place of authenticity. See yourself speaking your truth, honoring your needs and celebrating your uniqueness. Feel the peace that comes from alignment, from living in integrity with your values, from being the same person in private that you are in public. This is freedom. This is your birthright. This is what awaits on you on the other side of that courage that we talk about. So I want you to say with me, I am free to be myself. I choose authenticity over approval. And I trust that I am enough exactly as I am. Now take one more deep breath in. And when you are ready, open your eyes and step into this liberated moment right here. All right, my beautiful people. Again, what a week that we had. We explored honoring our body's wisdom, listening to our inner voice, embracing our self-worth, and becoming students of our own bodies. And now claiming our freedom to live authentically. Next week, we will continue preparing for our transformation series where we will have Mindset Monday with Dr. Will. And then we have Wisdom Wednesday where we have an amazing guest to share her story on this transformational journey. I believe I said all to you all on what was going on with my body and why I choose to. But I think it's time that you hear other voices right now. And I'm going to remove myself from those other days. There will be no Transfer Tuesday, no Threshold Thursday, and no Freedom Friday for the next few weeks, in the next few months. So again, I pray that you all are having an amazing, amazing weekend. But also, I want you to know that I truly want to celebrate on how far that you all have come. I want you to celebrate the courage to listen to your bodies, to celebrate your willingness to trust your inner knowing, and to celebrate your commitment to authenticity when it's scary. And I celebrate myself right now. I celebrate myself right now. Because I'm going to share something else with you. I thought about if I'm not doing it every day, would I lose my placing in my rankings? And I thought that was so shallow of me. Like, girl, really? I had to check myself because that was outside validation. You are more important than that. You know that. But again, this is me giving you my real, raw, and uncut of it all, my authentic self. All right, my beautiful people. I just want you to know that you are not just preparing for transformation, that you are transformation. So every choice you make from love instead of fear, every truth you speak, every boundary that you set, every moment that you choose yourself, that is transformation. I love you. I see you. And I'm honored to walk this path of freedom with you all. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend, all right? Have a good one.
Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.